energy. We walked around for 35 minutes just in the parking lot looking for this car.
The passion.
UVM schedules the way they do to get as high a seed as possible in the NCAA tournament and to get as much tournament prep as they can because they're not going to get it from their league.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
The organization should be taking care of Mac rather than Mac taking care of the organization.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show right here on a Wednesday on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Short show today. We're up until 6:10, and at that point, we turn it over to Game 3 of the series between the Red Sox and the Orioles. Red Sox won last night in an ugly, high-scoring affair. Speaking of the Red Sox, I did speak earlier today with Tom Caron, our Sox insider over at Nesson. That interview is available on our podcast channel already. I also talked with Mario Pilato of Pro Football Focus. He's an injury expert and a former team strength and conditioning coach. We were going to have that interview live, but we had a couple scheduling things happen. So Mario Pilato online also on our podcast channel, and Freddie Coleman of ESPN will join us here in about 15 minutes. It's been a minute since we had Freddie on live, so we've got Freddie on live here in about 15. Again, you can get in on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. That's 802-585-3026. Your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. You can also check out the brand new Facebook stream. I guess it's not brand new anymore. We've been doing it for about 8 months now, 6 months maybe. So you can check out Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and my Twitter account as well.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show were brought to you by Six and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sixandstuff.com. Bill Belichick just infuriated me earlier today. There are times when Bill Belichick's act with the media, his surliness, there's times where I get it. And there's times where it just gets under my skin. And today was one of those days. Bill Belichick stood at the podium for 10 minutes, and he was asked all kinds of questions about Mac Jones and about Brian Hoyer, and all he would say is about Mac, he's getting better, we'll take it day by day. He used the phrase day by day like 15 times. He didn't officially rule Mac out for this weekend. He didn't talk about Mac's pain level. He didn't talk about Mac's mobility. He didn't do any of that. All he did was sit there and insult our intelligence. He even said, I'm not a doctor. We'll take it day by day. Do you want me to look at the MRI? We'll take it day by day. Here's Belichick with about 40 seconds of his greatest hits from today.
Do you expect back to start on Sunday for you guys?
Take it day by day. Brian's got a lot of experience. He's done everything that we would want to do. Not be able to do it, with, I think, minimal practice. That was what it was. So, just take it day by day. We're not really doing anything differently. Day by day, Phil. Day by day. That's the plan. Day by day. Day by day is getting better. See how it goes. Day by day.
Does he have a high ankle sprain?
Day by day.
Okay, I understand that Bill Belichick is the best coach in NFL history, but man, that just grinds my gears because, again, that is an affront to our intelligence. We all know that Mac Jones is hurt, right? We all know that Mac Jones is hurt. Everybody saw it. Everybody saw his reaction. This isn't like he pulled a hamstring and we couldn't quite tell how much there was tug. We saw him not be able to walk off the field. We saw him hop off the field. We saw him get carried down to the locker room. We heard what we heard of the screams from Mac Jones from, the bowels of Gillette Stadium. We all saw it. We all heard it. Every credible NFL reporter has said he has a high ankle sprain. Every sports doctor out there has said this is a multi-week injury. I've seen as little as 3 weeks. I've seen as much as 12, but every credible sports doctor out there says multi-weeks. We all know this, and yet Bill Belichick continues to play this game, dangling cliches day by day, day by day. He continues to act like there's a chance that Mac could play. He shouldn't be acting that way. We know that Mac Jones is not playing. And heck, if they did try to trot him out there, it would be among the stupidest decisions in franchise history. It's game 4 of the season, not the AFC title game. So Mac's not playing. And continuing to give this thin veil of possibility, it's not doing anything but making Bill Belichick look bad. We know Mac's not playing. He knows Mac's not playing. And the Packers know that Mac is not playing. This frustrates me to no end. I understand that Bill Belichick doesn't want to give away the farm, and I respect that. I understand that decisions about whether Mac is or is not going to get surgery might not have been made yet or are confidential. I get all that. If Bill Belichick had just said, Mac is getting treatment, he's working hard, we'll have an injury report later, that would have sufficed. But no, he had to say, I'm not a doctor. Do you expect me to read MRIs? All this buffoonery from the press conference today. Just say, Mac's working hard. We'll make a determination here about this week and other weeks soon. All of that would have been better. You know what? Maybe Bill Belichick essentially did that, but the condescending nature of it all just gets under my damn skin. Okay? If he wanted to say, yeah, Mac can't go this week, but we're not sure how long he'll be out, that would have been fine too. Instead, we got this Bill Belichick shtick, and that ticks me off. Like, I had a radio co-host once, my first co-host in this business, talked to me about, on air, he would do the hot to crazy scale. You all know this, right? There's a hot guy, there's a hot girl. The hotter they are, the more crazy they can get away with, right? You all know this. This is life. Okay? People that are better looking get away with more. That's just the way it is. So that newsflash, that's life for you. Like when Bill Belichick was 12-4 and winning Super Bowls, he's a 10 on the hot scale. And so he can get away with this garbage. But when you're 1-2 this year, and when you're 18-19 and you're 37 games without Tom Brady in Foxborough over the last 3 years, it's no longer cute. The hot to crazy scale you could get away with 5 years ago, you can't get away with now. It's not cute. It's not funny. Just, my God, just say something. Don't treat the media like imbeciles. Don't treat the fans like imbeciles. We all saw it. Right? I understand, hey, guy gets hit by a pitch, and he gets hit on the shoulder, and he's got to rub it out a bit, but we can't quite see what's going on. And the next day, Alex Cora wants to be a little vague. Hey, we're not quite sure what he's doing, not sure if he's going to be in the lineup. I can get that. Hockey player takes a puck to the arm. Hey, you know what? He's working it out. He's going to go pregame with the staff. It's game time decision. I get that too. We all saw this. Mac Jones was in pain. He's not playing, and Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, he came on after Belichick. He knows he's not playing.
But, yeah, I would not expect Mac Jones to play. He's dealing with some, I would say significant damage. It's a high ankle sprain. It is one that is pretty severe. It is one that usually knocks players out 4 to 6 weeks. I would say as it pertains to his surgery, probably looking unlikely that he will do the tightrope procedure. We'll see, still making a decision, but the fact that he hasn't had it yet means it's probably unlikely.
I mean, Ian Rappaport says this usually keeps you out 4 to 6 weeks. Guess what? Ian Rappaport's getting fed that information. Someone is telling Ian Rappaport something. Why do you think that Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter get all the same stories and they get them at all the same time? They've got all the same moles and all the same people feeding them info. Ian Rappaport didn't just pull that out of left field. So he knows Mac's not playing. This whole thing just irritates me to all hell. Tex says, I never expect anything other than how Belichick handles today's press conference. He never gives an inch. It's just posturing for Green Bay as if they think they've got to prepare for Mac on Sunday. They know they don't have to prepare for Mac. And guess what? They know that even if they did prepare for Mac, they're getting him at 40%, and they're not really playing Mac. They don't have to prepare for Mac. This is just stupid for the sake of Bill Belichick proving that he can act like this. And then, remember yesterday we played the cut of Mac Jones basically doing the exact same thing, right? Or on Monday. Mac went to the podium on Monday and said basically the same garbage that Belichick did.
Yeah, I'm just kind of taking it day to day and making sure everything's good. And honestly, any injury questions are Coach Belichick's thing. So I'm not here to answer them. I appreciate everyone kind of reaching out and looking after me, but it's kind of just a day-to-day thing, and just trying to get better.
So Mac says, I'm taking it day by day. Bill says, I'm taking it day by day. Mac says, all injury questions go to Bill. Bill says, I'm not a doctor. So it's a nice little convenient loop the Patriots have. But you know what? I'm not even mad at Mac Jones. I'm not even mad at him because he's just taking orders on how he handles it. Mac is a young player, is just following an organizational directive, trying to continue to follow the quote rules. I'm annoyed at Belichick. I'm not annoyed with Mac. Kay Adams, formerly of the NFL Network, basically said the same thing.
I think you are only you have to be one with your team and the leadership of your team, and that's how the team goes. And it's incredible that he takes such good notes as such a young kid and knew right away, week 1, week 2, year 2, how to handle himself in front of the media. Maybe not how he'd like to, but he knows what's going to keep him out of the doghouse, and I will always respect that.
Yes, I agree with that. Belichick annoys me with this stuff, or annoyed me with it today. Sometimes I get it, but Belichick I'm annoyed with. Mac Jones, again, just following marching orders, so not mad at him. You know who I am? You know who else I'm annoyed at today? Is Keyshawn Johnson of ESPN Radio. Keyshawn Johnson is another guy who has forgotten more football than I'll ever know. I recognize that, right? Number 1 pick, give me the damn ball, played with the Bucks and the Cowboys and the Jets. Keyshawn was great, right? Keyshawn was awesome. He has forgotten more football than I will ever know. But Keyshawn Johnson actually went on live radio today and said the Patriots are just as good, if not better, with Brian Hoyer.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I wouldn't be shocked that New England would win the game still, even with Mac Jones or Brian Hoyer, because they're not going to change. It's basically the same thing. That's why we have you Brian just Hoyer. Get a little bit older guy, but it's essentially the same thing. In fact, I would argue with some that Brian Hoyer and what they do may be better
at this moment
than Mac Jones.
Maybe
is.
Not.
Okay. That's just a laughable take. Keyshawn's smart guy, nice guy, laughable take. That is spoken like a guy who has not watched Patriots football in 2 years, not a guy who's played in the league for a decade and who's been in the media and who was the number 1 pick. Yes, Brian Hoyer is experienced. He's been around the block. He's played in different offenses. He's played in different cities. He's played in front of different fan bases. He's played for Bill Belichick. All of that makes sense. All of it helps. He has not won a game in the NFL since 2016. Keyshawn Johnson just told you that the Patriots are just fine with Brian Hoyer, and they're just as good with Hoyer as Mac Jones. He has not won one single game since 2016. He has not won multiple games in the NFL since 2015. Mac Jones won 10 games last year alone. And while Mac is not the best quarterback in the league, he's certainly light years better than Brian Hoyer. All of Brian Hoyer's experience and knowing Belichick, that's great. He doesn't have the rapport with the receivers that Mac does. He doesn't have the same good offensive line that Mac had a year ago. He doesn't have any of that stuff. And by the way, the offense is going to look different. And it's not going to look better, as Keyshawn would tell you. When Brian Hoyer started the game in 2020 for the Patriots against the Chiefs, he was 15 of 24. He had 15 completions for 130 yards. It was a total dink and duck offense where Hoyer averaged 5.4 yards per attempt. In the last game he started in 2016 or whatever, he went 18 of 39 with 3 interceptions and throwing 5.23 yards per attempt. So Brian Hoyer does not move the ball down the field. Last year, we all agree Mac Jones was pretty conservative, right? Didn't take a lot of chances. Last year, Mac Jones threw the ball over 7 yards per attempt. He looks like he's throwing Hail Marys compared to what Brian Hoyer does. Okay? What Keyshawn says is just blatantly not true. Just blatantly not true. It's not going to look the same. It's not going to look better. It's going to look far different, and it's going to look far worse. If the Patriots can run all over Green Bay, then they got a chance. But if they have to rely on Hoyer to do anything, good luck. Good luck. I hope I'm wrong. But Keyshawn, I believe, is wrong just in every sense of it with that statement. Last year, Mac throws at 7 yards, 7 yards per attempt. Brian Hoyer's thrown at 5.2 yards per attempt when he's last recently played. Come on. Like, I think I'm fairly harsh on Mac when it comes to the offseason and the preseason, but even I can see he's light years better. Light years better. Jack says, that's ridiculous, what Keyshawn says, and Peter says, Keyshawn is crazy. If the Patriots had Andy Dalton or Case Keenum, they'd be starting over Hoyer. Yeah, they probably would be. So, all right. Well, I'm going to ask Freddie Coleman about Keyshawn's comments because they're buddies. So I'm going to see if he'll defend him on there because I just think that's indefensible. All right, let's go out to the phone line now here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We're joined by ESPN Radio's Freddie Coleman, Freddie and Fitzsimmons, weeknights at 9 p.m. Freddie, thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How's the hoop game going?
Hoop game is good. I had 23 the other night.
Okay.
But we beat another team that was 2-0, and so that was a good team and a good good overall performance, I thought.
Okay, that's good. That means you're on the winning streak, which is something the Patriots need. So let's go there.
Yeah, Patriots. I don't think are going to get it because it looks like Brian Hoyer is going to play for a while, or is going to be playing here for a while. So I got to tell you, I'm pretty annoyed at Bill Belichick today. Like, the whole world knows that Mac is hurt. The whole world knows that Mac is not going to play. Rappaport's got it. Schefter's got it. Everybody's got it. Why is he out there being coy, saying, oh, we'll take it day by day and we'll see what he can do? Like, come on, man. The jig is up.
Have you not paid attention to Bill Belichick for the past 20 years, how he operates when it comes to anything? He's going to maintain that control, Brady, no matter what is out there, no matter what the truth is. And it's something that's always worked for him. I don't know how that got started, where that got started, but that's been part of his DNA as a football coach. And I wonder, after what happened with the Cleveland Browns and how he was definitely more accessible and more transparent, and it didn't end well, where if he said to himself, if I get another opportunity, I'm really going to control everything. That includes the media, that includes the organization, that includes even the ownership at times when it comes to Robert Kraft. So we should not be surprised that Bill Belichick is not letting any information out there, no matter what's been said and what we know about the inavailability when it comes to Mac Jones.
Well, let's just say Mac Jones is 40%. I don't know if he's good enough to be 40%. If you're Mac Jones, do you even want to play at that limited capacity?
Oh, God, no, because Bill Parcells, another former Patriots coach, said it best. You can play hurt in the NFL, but you can't play injured. And there's absolutely no doubt that Mac Jones is an injured quarterback. And Bill Belichick can try to gild the lily all he wants to, Brady, but high ankle sprains, those are a 4 to 6 week injury, and sometimes they can be a 6 to 8 week injury. So whatever Bill Belichick is trying to portray out there is part and parcel of the hoodie being the hoodie. But if I'm Mac Jones, you can't go out there as a compromised quarterback in modern football. You can even do that in ancient football, and guys are doing that. With the speed of the game and the element of the game that's going to be there, and you got a compromised quarterback, unless you plan on having Mac Jones in like a diabolical chamber where nobody can get around his force field, there's no way he should be out there until he's fully 100% healthy.
Let's just assume that it's 4 weeks, right? It might be more, as you said, but let's just assume it's 4 weeks. Can the Patriots tread water with Brian Hoyer for 4 weeks, or is Mac going to come back to a 1-6 team?
Maybe a 1-6 team. I think at best maybe a 2-5 team, because when you have an offense that was starting to finally turn the corner because they're able to score some points. Although I wonder, Brady, how much of that is the Ravens defense not being what we thought it was going to be more than the Patriots offense. I believe both of those things can be true. But now you got a Brian Hoyer where you can run some of the same things that you can run with Mac Jones, but he's not Mac Jones. Brian Hoyer's been a career backup that you may be able to get away with that for a game or two, but people have enough film on Brian Hoyer, and anytime that happens, that has never ended well for him or his football team. So in the NFL, where each and every week is a dogfight, you can blow out a team one week and be in a street fight the next week, where the Patriots offense is now even more compromised without their starting quarterback, and their defense has played a lot of snaps and given up a lot of big plays. This could be a very, very daunting season potentially for the Patriots, depending what Brian Hoyer is able to do, having to play above his position.
You know, you've done a lot of filling in over the last couple of months on the Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max show, right, on ESPN. You've been hanging out with those guys a lot. What is up with Keyshawn today? Because today Keyshawn said that the Patriots are just as good, if not better, with Brian Hoyer than Mac Jones. That tell me that you can't defend your compadre there.
Oh, I'm not defending anything. He's a grown man. He can say what he wants, but I know the truth as far as I'm concerned. You can't tell me that they can be the same football team. The only way they're going to be the same football team or better, a little bit of Brian Hoyer, if it's the running game can get started. And anybody's going to play the Patriots are going to say, we're not going to let the running game help out the quarterback. Hey, Brian Hoyer, you may make a play or two, but at a certain point, you're going to give it back. You got to take the same philosophy with Brian Hoyer that the New Orleans Saints had when the Carolina Panthers played, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played against the Saints, where their linebacker, Devin White, said, we knew James was going to give it back. At a certain point, just wait him out. He's going to do that because they had enough film on him, and they played with that guy. It's the same principle with Brian Hoyer. You take away the running game, you force him to try to beat you through the air. He won't be able to get the ball downfield to Kendrick Bourne and everybody else. And then you wait until he makes that mistake because just like death and taxes, those things are going to happen with Brian Hoyer throwing the ball a little bit more than he's supposed to for this Patriots offense.
Freddie Coleman, ESPN Radio, Freddie and Fitzsimmons, weeknights, 9 p.m. Packers right now, they haven't looked great. That's who the Patriots are playing on Sunday, but the Packers are 2-1. What do you see from them as we start to think about that side of the coin for Sunday?
They're going to keep getting better because they got a bunch of filthy McNasties on defense that can get after the quarterback, and the secondary has been better than advertised, being able to plaster wide receivers. But the one thing that has really been able to shine for the Green Bay Packers, Brady, is the fact that running game, you got a two-fisted monster with Jones and Dillon. You got a Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside combination. And we saw that the Green Bay Packers had to worry about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take away their running game. They were still able to make plays. And it's really hard to make plays in any kind of game against that Buccaneers defense. But they're able to run the ball just enough to make sure it's not second and third and long to Aaron Rodgers. And when he had to make some throws, he was able to do that. Those are the kind of slugfests that Green Bay thought they were going to have to win, and they were able to. But now you're going against a Patriots team that is a wounded football team that you can make plays on that offense. And now all of a sudden, those wide receivers that were question marks after week 1 versus Minnesota, there may be a lot better answers having to get the ball down the field and take a lot of pressure off that running game and vice versa.
Freddie, organizationally, Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, who's in the worst shape right now?
Right now, the Patriots, because the Celtics still have a lot of talent. And I know they got to deal with the cloud of Ime Udoka over this basketball team. But once we get into regular season play, and they're able to have a good start to the regular season, that's going to fade into the background until his suspension is over when it comes to next year. And I know the Red Sox had a terrible year, but their farm system is a lot better now than it was before. 2 years ago, they had the worst farm system in terms of ratings, according to Baseball America. Now they have their 11th best farm system. So they're building and they tore everything down. They're going to get rid of those contracts. So in the future, you better get the Red Sox in 2022 because for the next 4 to 5 years, they may be the kings of the AL East. I look at this Patriots team, and it seems to me, Brady, they're trying to win the way they're used to winning. But in modern football, you got to have dudes. You can't just have a dude at quarterback and have piecemeal pieces around him. You got to have guys that can top off the defense. You got to have a tight end that can threaten the middle of the field. You got to have a running back that can break a big gain at any given time. And you got to have a talented offensive line. They don't have a check mark next to any of those. They got decent parts, but you got to have dude parts because any team that's contending for a championship, they have a guy. Josh Allen with Buffalo, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins. Each and every team that believes they can win in the National Football League, especially in the loaded AFC, they have a dude or dudes that can tilt the field. And right now, the Patriots don't have any of those guys on both sides of the football.
You know, Freddie, let's go to the Celtics, who are at training camp now. First practice was yesterday. The players all stepped up to the podium at media day and said that they were really in the dark about what happened with the Ime Udoka situation. And I'm not criticizing. I'm genuinely about to ask a question here. I think I get legally why the Celtics organization couldn't tell the players everything. But my question is, if you are running a thorough investigation like the Celtics say they did, should the players have been questioned? Like, maybe they're not told everything, but wouldn't they pick up some breadcrumbs if they were questioned? Should they have been questioned about their coach and his conduct, or does it not involve them at all?
It doesn't involve them at all because Ime Udoka decided to take part in this, and he didn't involve any of the players. And whatever he was doing in the darkness, I guarantee you there are plenty of people in that organization, whether they were players or assistant coaches or even management, did not know, because this blindsided everybody. We didn't hear any inkling, and ever since it came to light, Brady, we haven't heard any anonymous sources saying, well, we knew what was going on, or we had an inkling what was going on. We haven't heard any of that, because if somebody knew something, they would have said something either long before or right after everything had come out. And we haven't heard anything about that regarding anybody in that Celtics organization. And I think you get into personal business with somebody, unless a player's family member or that player is directly involved, you can't question players about something that has nothing to do with them. And even if they were hiding what Ime Udoka was doing, he still did it. He still involved himself in something. I don't think you can involve somebody else unless it becomes a court of criminal case. Then we're talking about something different. We're not talking about that now, Ime Udoka. We're talking about somebody that, according to the Celtics, have repeated violations when it comes to the team's policy and the team's overall basketball character on and off the basketball court. To involve anybody else in what is a character flaw and a character commission by Ime Udoka, I don't think that would have been the right line of question, and you can't question the players as far as I'm concerned with that.
What do you think of Joe Mazzulla's task in front of him, and how much team leadership are the Celtics going to need? Because, this could be a tough situation for a first-year head coach, 34 years old, who was coaching D2 hoops 4 years ago.
If he's anything like the player I saw at West Virginia, then the Boston Celtics are going to be fine, because go back and look at how he played at West Virginia. He wasn't the best player. He wasn't a physically gifted player, but it was a hard 40 minutes because he prepared, he understood his opponent, he understood his limitations, and he understood his strengths. He was a big factor with the culture of West Virginia when Bob Huggins first got there. So I think that's the least of my concern, because he's involved in the system. He knows how to coach players, and I believe he knows how to get the most out of players. People look at the 34 years of age and say, okay, first NBA time, but the same thing was said about Nick Nurse of the Toronto Raptors, and he did quite well winning an NBA championship when they got Kawhi Leonard. This Celtics team, in my opinion, is more talented than that Toronto Raptors team. Joe Mazzulla is going to be a lot better than people are going to give him credit for, and I get it, Brady. It's the unknown. You don't know what somebody's going to do until they actually put in a position where they have to rise or they're going to fall. But if he's anything like he was as a player in college at West Virginia, then this Celtics team may be able to manage this a lot better without Ime Udoka on the sidelines. And who knows if Ime Udoka is ever going to coach again for the Boston Celtics.
Freddie Coleman, we appreciate you as always, Freddie. Look forward to listening tonight at 9.
Keep letting it fly and knocking them down, my friend. I'll talk to you in 7 days, Brady.
I will talk to you in 7 days. Yeah, Freddie loves to hear about my men's league hoops. So, Mike Trimboli and I are on the same team. Mike Trimboli, he had former UVM fame, 2,000 points, 2,000 assists. No big deal that he's on my team. But, we won. We're 3-0. I had 23 the other day. He had to have like 40. I mean, he just was as what you would expect. But we won. Freddie loves to hear about it. I got Freddie all juiced up now on hearing about men's league hoops. Otherwise, I mean, Freddie's just one of the best, right? Texter says, wow, Freddie really knows everything. Freddie really does know everything. I could ask Freddie any question, and he will have an idea about it. It's not like I screened the questions with Freddie beforehand. Like, he's not prepared for what I'm going to ask. He knows everything. Brings up a good point about the Celtics, right? Question I asked yesterday, should the players have been questioned about this? Well, Freddie says if they had nothing to do with it, then no. And yeah, you know what? Maybe he's right. And I also do find it amazing that we haven't heard anybody say we knew what was going on. Because I even said right when the story came out, I'm like, oh, come on. Who can have an affair and nobody knows about it? Like when you're in this line of work, they seem to have done a pretty good job of keeping it secret. Because, again, we have heard nothing before or nothing after the report. As for the Patriots, I don't like hearing that Freddie thinks they could be 1-6, but that is realistic. If Mac misses 4 games, they could very well be 1-6 by the time he comes back. Maybe 2-5. I called for best case scenario to split those 4 games. Again, hopefully the best case scenario is he's only out 3 games. I said one doctor I saw has said 3 games. Dr. David Chow said today, a little while ago, he thinks Mac might be back after 3 games. That would be the ultra best case scenario, but I am mentally prepared for at least 4. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. I'm prepared for at least 4. Dr. Mario Pilato, he's prepared for more. I'll tell you what he said about Mac Jones. That's next on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV.
96.1 WDEV FM Warren. 96.5 W243 AT Barrie. 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier. AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Peter King, live in Orlando. Torrential downpours are only part of the story from Hurricane Ian, which is moving slowly and slowly weakening as it moves inland. It's still centered in southwest Florida. CBS's Omar Villafranca is on the Gulf Coast.
Here comes a little bit of a band picking in. We can hear it coming. The noise is absolutely amazing. Wherever it's coming from, you just hear trees roaring, and then all of a sudden it comes and whips where you are, and as quick as it comes, it's gone.
The hurricane's rain is coming down here and in Jacksonville, hundreds of miles from where it made landfall. But the threat of the storm surge is the highest in the Gulf. Correspondent Nora O'Donnell is in Tampa.
Forecasters are predicting 12 to 18 feet. That is higher than a one-story house. A meteorologist with the National Weather Service today saying nobody alive has ever witnessed storm surge that high.
The destruction is expected to be life-changing for many, and Governor Ron DeSantis has asked President Biden for a disaster declaration for the state. I'm Peter King in Orlando. Now with more CBS News, here's Monica Ricks.
The Coast Guard says 20 Cuban migrants are now missing near the Florida Keys after their boat sank in the storm. It rescued 3 migrants. 4 were able to swim to shore. In Washington, President Biden warned against gas price gouging.
Do not use this as an excuse to raise gasoline prices or gouge the American people.
AAA says Florida drivers are paying an average of $3.40 a gallon. The national average, $3.77. Shares of drug makers researching Alzheimer's disease soared today over a potential new treatment that appears to slow down the disease. CBS's Dr. David Agus.
The drug has a significant effect in terms of delaying cognitive decline, approximately 27% over the 18-month duration of the study. But when you look at the big picture of things, it's a very small amount of a several-month delay in cognitive decline.
Federal health officials are seeing encouraging results on the effectiveness of the monkeypox vaccine. Reporter Alexander Tin.
The CDC says data collected from 32 jurisdictions suggests people who have received at least one dose of the Jynneos monkeypox vaccine had a 14 times lower risk of testing positive for the virus. Officials say the early figures provide, quote, cautious optimism that the vaccine is working so far.
Veteran CBS newsman Bill Plant died at his home today in Washington. He retired in 2016, but covered the White House for us for decades.
Mr. President, do you believe Osama bin Laden's denial that he had anything to do with this?
No question, he is the prime suspect.
Plant was battling cancer. He was 84 years old. This is CBS News.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Visit libertymutual.com to learn more.
Flu season could be a real doozy. Good thing Kinney pharmacists are all stocked up with this year's flu vaccines. Kinney has high-dose vaccines for seniors and is the only pharmacy that can help take the sting out of shots with Buzzy, the vaccine bee. Kinney even offers needle-free vaccinations. The flu monster could be lurking right around the corner. Come to Kinney and protect yourself and your family. Ages 2 and up in New York, 3 and up in Vermont. Schedule your annual flu shot at KinneyDrugs.com.
This just in from Rick the Kid at Lamoille Valley Ford.
Folks, to say the least, it's been a challenging year for consumers, not just on gas or groceries, but vehicles too. But at Lamoille Valley Ford, that ends today. We have over 400 new vehicles either on the ground or in the pipeline, and we're ready to make deals. When you combine Lamoille Valley Ford's discount on a 22 F-150 with huge factory incentives, returning lessees can take up to $6,000 off MSRP. That's right, $6,000 below sticker price. Also, qualified buyers can combine that with 2.9% financing. Or how about the smoke and lease deal? Right now, returning lessees can lease a brand new, fuel-efficient 22 Escape for just $299 per month with only $3,900 cash or trade due at signing. The best part is you don't have to wait 6 months for your vehicle to be ordered. Almost all of these 400 units are built for stock with VIN numbers just awaiting shipment. If you prefer to order your custom vehicle, no worries. We're honoring all of these incentives at time of dealer order. So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick, where we know price matters. Woo!
The afternoon news service is every single weekday at 4 p.m. right here on WDEV. It's news, it's business, it's sports that you care about. We talk to our local experts from all around the state, looking at every sector to keep you informed and up to date on the latest news that you need to be aware of. The afternoon news service every single day at 4 p.m. right here on the Friendly Pioneer, WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com, and streaming on the WDEV radio app.
Think you know sports better than Brady does? Text in with your thoughts at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Red Sox baseball coming up 5 minutes from now. Sox and Orioles, game 3 of their 4-game series. Hey, reminder, tomorrow is a day game. It's a 1:35 start, 12:35 with our pregame show. But so we will have a full show tomorrow, and I'm very excited about it. We're going to be joined by Mike Wall, who's a former All-Pro and Pro Bowl offensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers. Well, actually, he did that with the Carolina Panthers, but he played with the Green Bay Packers for a bunch of years, so he's going to help us get us ready for Patriots and Packers. Talk a little bit about Brian Hoyer playing with the backup quarterback, etc. So Mike Wall going to be with us at about 5:45 tomorrow. So already looking forward to that and looking forward to a full show as we get you ready for Week 4. I've told you the opinions now on Mac Jones, they're all over the place, right? 4 to 6 is standard for a high ankle sprain. That's most people are saying that. Dr. David Chow, former team doctor for the Chargers, said maybe 3. And then earlier today, I spoke with Mario Pilato, who is a injury expert at Pro Football Focus. He is far more worried than that.
So the typical return to play is 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain, and that would be in grade 1. Grade 2 would be about 6 to 12. And when they're talking about surgery, there's kind of a standard for surgery. What the injury is the ligament between the tip and the fibula. And when the space becomes more than 2 millimeters, that's when you need surgery. So the fact that they were talking about that early, we believe.
So the audio a little rickety, I get it, but he's saying that grade 1's 4 to 6, grade 2 is 6 to 12, and if they were talking about surgery that early, that leads me to believe that it's more that leads me to believe it's on the more serious end. So when Dr. Mario Pilato, he told me, he's like, look, man, if he does come back, I worry about him being compromised all year. If he doesn't get surgery, I worry about him being compromised. If he does get surgery, I think he'll get this thing done right. But again, the opinions are all over the place, and Bill Belichick certainly not giving us anything to work with at today's press conference. So Mac Jones, he did not practice today. They put it his ankle finally on the injury report. I don't think he's going to have to be ruled out until Friday. So we're not going to get an official announcement, I'm sure, tomorrow. But we all know that Brian Hoyer is going to play quarterback for the Patriots. Texter said, loved the Freddie Coleman segment. Also loved what he had to say about the Red Sox moving forward. Yeah, Freddie was right, man. He knew, like, Red Sox 11th ranked farm system. I don't know if they're going to be the class of the AL East for the next 5 years, but I also think that, and look, we'll do a lot of post-mortem on the Red Sox season, like probably starting next week, right? Like after the season ends officially. I don't think the Red Sox are going to be super difficult to fix. They just need to be willing to spend the money. If they're willing to spend the money, they can get out of what they're in pretty darn quickly here. And I think they can be back at a good spot this time next year. I don't know if they're going to control the division for 5 years, though. I love Freddie. That one was a little bit out there, though. The Orioles are 80-74. They're 3.5 back in the final wild card spot. The Red Sox are 73-81. They're trying to play spoiler. I want them to play spoiler. My Mariners are the team that are floundering right now, trying to hold Baltimore off. So any help from the Red Sox would be highly desired. Dean Kramer pitches for Baltimore. Rich Hill goes for Boston. Kramer's 8-5 with a 3.07 and a pretty good year. Ryan McKenna leads off in center. Ryan Mountcastle's at first. Anthony Santander, who may never get out again, is in left. Jesus Aguilar is the DH. Austin Hayes is in right. Tyler Nevin's at third. Jorge Mateo's at short. Taryn Vavra is at second, and Robinson Chirinos is the catcher. For the Sox, Tommy Pham is in left. Rafi Devers is at third. Xander Bogaerts at short. Alex Verdugo in right. JD Martinez, the DH. Tristan Casas homered last night. He's at first. Kike Hernandez is at second, and Reese McGuire is the catcher. And batting ninth is Abraham Almonte. Again, Rich Hill against Dean Kramer. 3.5 games back. That's all the Orioles are from my Mariners. So please, 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 Red Sox, go and get the win. Podcast channel's got a bunch of extra interviews, right? Freddie Coleman, who you heard, Tom Caron from earlier today, Mario Pilato, and from yesterday, Tom Brennan, former Catamount Hoops coach. We're back at it tomorrow. Buster Olney and Mike Wall, former All-Pro offensive lineman.
This is